Hey, this is Alex with the Unbiased Trailblazer podcast. If you haven't joined our Discord yet, you're missing out. Go to our Twitter at Unbiased Blazers. There's a link in our bio where you can join the Discord server from there. There's also links in every podcast description, so you can join from there as well. Now, let's get to the show. Rip City, baby.
When I play out a game and then talk, I'm trying, Jennifer.
Rip City, what's going on? Episode 54 of the Unbiased Trailblazer podcast. It's been a couple weeks, but here we are. We're back. We're getting ready. Let's do this. First and foremost, I mentioned in Discord. So first thing first, if you're not in Discord, join it. We have to add Fawad. We have to add a title to him. He has become an NBA countdown bot. So how many days we got? I know I'm throwing this out on you without
I believe
planning.
It's 21 or 22. I don't remember if I checked today or yesterday, but I'm pretty sure I think it's 20.
We're almost there. We're so close.
Yeah, 20 days until our first season game. That's
There we
less
go.
than
So
3
20 Yep, 20 days away. So football's going to hold me over for a couple more weeks, and then we got basketball season, and it's go time. Fawad, how are you doing tonight?
I'm good. It's been a while. I don't even know, like, 2-3 weeks, but yeah, I've been kind of busy with some with work, some with family, but it's been good. How have you been?
I've been good. I've been working a lot. My wife's getting close to having her babies, or having not her baby, our baby. So we're getting things ready for that. So it's been a hectic couple weeks, but I'm because it's the off season. It's the dry part of the off season, and we kind of had to scour for things to talk about. But I feel like and I'm excited. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. First things first. I just wanted to address this real quick because I just thought it was really strange. I'm not sure if anybody saw this or not, but apparently, according to Nurkic, who played for Bosnia this past couple weeks, he put out a tweet saying, I think it was a tweet at least, that 4 players from the national team for Bosnia had to sleep in one bed together. How is that possible? That's mind-boggling to me that 4 players are sleeping in one bed together. I think he tried to use that as kind of an excuse why they lost their last game, or a reason why, or one of the reasons why they lost. But if that's true, that's crazy. 4 players sleeping in one bed. You obviously know these players are going to be bigger than the average human, so that must be one
probably like
giant ass
6'5",
bed.
6'6" on average.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine sleeping. And he made a comment. I think don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure he said something about like he would take money out of his own pocket to fix these issues. Like that's how much it meant to him, which props to him. But yeah, that's crazy if that's even an issue for a team like that to have 4 people sleep in one bed.
Yeah, I heard about that. I didn't hear about the part that he was willing to pay, but that doesn't surprise me considering how much he's done for Bosnia with his own money, like throughout the years during COVID and everything. But yeah, it was surprising to hear. Like, honestly, I was more surprised that FIBA, or is it FIBA who runs Zero Basket? Or yeah, right? Yeah,
I honestly don't know about that.
I think it is, but whatever. Whoever organizes it, I was more surprised that they didn't set everything up for every single team or country, and it was the country's responsibility. But either way, whoever's responsibility it was, there's no reason at all that you should have even 2 players sharing a bed. But
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess money's tight in Bosnia or something. I'm not sure.
I mean, we're not in high school anymore. That's pretty crazy to have. I mean, even just 2 grown adults on a basketball team representing the country having to sleep in the same room or same bed, not even the same room, same bed, is mind blowing. So throw in 2 extras, so you got 4. I don't even know how it's possible. They all laying like horizontally instead of vertically on the bed, like just I don't even know how it's possible.
Must have been one big bed.
So,
You got like twin queen king and then like Bosnian or
Bosnia.
Nurkic.
Oh, geez, that's funny. That's exciting. I'm gonna tell you right now, his bed probably is Bosnia sized. But yeah, unfortunately, like we just kind of talked about, Bosnia lost. They ended up not making it to the finals. Nurk, I'm having a
Not
little bit
even
of
finals. They
confusion.
didn't advance past the group stage, right?
That's true. They didn't get past the yeah. Sorry, that's what I had the stats pulled up. I had to restart my computer, and now I can't. So Nurkic played. He played well. He stayed healthy. Um, he was showing off his 3-point shooting still. There was a couple plays where they actually drew up 3-point plays for Nurkic, which is encouraging. Um, Defensively, it looked like he was playing pretty good. I only got to watch about, I'd say, maybe 3/4 of one game. They were at weird times in the day, morning, night. So he he looked good, and I'm excited to see it carry over to this year and see what he can do. I don't know if you caught any of the games or if you have any takes on it, but it was
Uh,
encouraging.
I didn't really get to watch any of the games. I was traveling a lot on, the last several weekends in a row, and even during the weekdays, I was kind of busy with some work I've been doing. So I caught the stats after I saw some highlights, but I didn't actually get to sit down and watch the game.
Yeah, we got to watch a poster, a nasty, nasty poster.
Yeah, I
Um,
saw that in the
a step
back-to-back
back
threes.
three. Yep, drawn up play for three. I mean, he was playing pretty well. So it's encouraging. Um, but big news out of the NBA. Actually, there's some giant news today, but within the last week or so, the NBA is introducing a season tournament. Um, Before we started this podcast, me and Fawad were talking a little bit about it. We're still kind of confused on what I can say. We are back. Technical difficulties. We had to pause the recording. We're back. We're ready to go. Hopefully, let's hope it's ready to go. Uh, what we were just about to talk about was the news of the in-season tournament. Um, if you haven't heard, the NBA is implementing an in-season basketball tournament, which, like I was saying, it's kind of confused me and Fawad a little bit. We haven't. Obviously, they're going to get it more ironed out as the season starts, but briefly, this is what it's saying. The in-season tournament would be like cup games through November. 8 teams with the best record in those games would advance to a single elimination tournament in December. The other 22 teams would continue their regular season. All the in-season tournament games would count as part of the 82 game schedule. The 2 teams that reach the final would end up playing one extra game during the regular season. So 82 game regular season is normally what it is. It would be 83 for the 2 final teams. The question that me and Fawad are kind of confused on. So if anyone's listening and you know the answer or have an explanation, feel free to let us know. But for example, we play the Celtics 2 times a year, one at home, one away. If we end up meeting them in this in-season tournament somehow, do we play them potentially three times, in the season, or does it substitute a game later on in the season? There's lots of things I'm confused about. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, it's something different, and it's going to be probably exciting to watch. It sounds like Mark Cuban's not a big fan of it. He made comments about like resting players, I think is what he said. So it's
Actually, I saw that at first, but then after that, someone said that was from a few years ago, and like recently, a couple months ago, he said he's out for it. So
oh,
that
okay.
quote was outdated.
Gotcha. Yeah, I saw that quote too, and so I just assumed that is what he was talking about. So good thing you caught that. So in that case, it's going to be interesting to see how teams handle it, since it's part of the regular season. I'd be surprised if they rested players. Maybe they don't. I don't know. I mean I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how they take in effect all of that. But do you have any opinions on it or anything?
Yeah, I'm actually pretty excited for it relatively. A lot of people are super like down on it and like they're mad about why it's happening. I don't see what the big deal is. Worst case is just equivalent to the regular season. Best case you get some interesting games. So I don't really see a downside. Like no one said it's supposed to be, equal to the NBA championship or the playoffs. It's just a little fun thing in the middle of the regular season. So I think it has potential. It could be interesting. But yeah, that thing about where those games are coming from is a little bit interesting. I think I'm wondering if maybe the first 2 rounds will be like within your division or at least within your conference, and that way it's a little bit more easy to swap out the games later on. you'll have multiple home games against each team in your division, so it might make it a little bit easier. But yeah, I don't know. I'm waiting for more details on that, I guess. And then the prize. I don't think they've announced officially like an actual prize, but I know each player is getting like $1 million or something like that on the winning team. What do you think about that as a prize? And do you think they need something else?
Yeah, from this website I'm looking at, it doesn't say they've determined a prize yet. I did hear the $1 million prize. I think obviously to players it's going to be enticing, and they want as much money as possible. They know they've floated that idea around for like the All-Star game and how to make it more competitive, which I think they did a good job on All-Star game. The last two All-Star games have been pretty enjoyable. Um, Whatever they decide is worth that prize for those players to try for it. I think it's going to be kind of like the summer league, where the teams are, I wouldn't say like excited for it, but when they're competing for it and they do win it, it is fun and exciting for the fan base and for the team itself. So I'm interested to see what happens. I mean, it could just be a 1 year thing and they realize it's not as viable as they thought it would be. I know the WNBA kind of has something like that. Um, I'm not 100% familiar with it, so don't quote me on it, but I know I think it's called like the Commissioner's Cup or something like that. So,
I'm not too
any
familiar
of you,
either.
yeah, if any of you WNBA fans know for sure, I know Keith from the Trailcasters and Chris both know a lot about WNBA, so maybe they can let us know. But just around those lines. But it's going to be interesting. Whatever's going
You
to make
know,
the players want to play and do it.
when you the original draft when it was announced, like it's probably 2 years ago at this point, but I think originally the tournament game was part of the regular season. It was supposed to be shortened to 78 games, and then the tournament on top of that would bring it up to like 81, 82. I think it's supposed to be 81. Um, but now they're making it part of the thing, so I think that also helps with the competitiveness. Like before, if it didn't count at all towards the regular season, there's a little bit more of a chance that you might rest some of your big players. But now it's just any other regular season game at worst, and there's more motivation. Best case scenario. So I think it's good that they're keeping it as part of the regular season in terms of record.
Yeah, and it looks like they have the tournament in December, so that's kind of early-ish, but still getting more close to the middle of the season. So, I mean, those will be important games heading into All-Star break. Getting close to All-Star break. I wouldn't say heading into All-Star break, but getting close. I do think if they are going to do this, I think they do have to include it into the regular season, or else those players and teams aren't going to risk players getting hurt for something that's not necessarily like a team's ultimate goal, or shouldn't be your ultimate goal is to win the in-season tournament. So
Yeah.
maybe the Kings or somebody do, but um, do you have anything else you want to talk about on that one?
There was one little minor thing I was just about to say. I'm just gonna keep talking until I remember, and it was that. Oh, right. So I think I don't know about the whole tournament, but I think at least the finals. Um, it was okay. This is again based on the last update, like 2 years ago. I don't know if they said anything recently, but I think it's supposed to be played on like a neutral field, like in Vegas or something. I think that could be fun too. Not having home crowd has its own like benefits, but in a neutral like playing ground, I think it could add something special to it too. It's just like something different, so that could be a fun aspect as well. I don't know if it's the or just the finals, but I know they wanted to have some portion that was on a neutral ground.
Yeah, I mean, not only so you brought up Vegas, so let's address the rumors that are going around. It sounds like
It's
there's going
cutting
to
out again.
be. Oh, is it?
It's fine
Testing,
now, so
testing, 1, 2. Okay.
yeah, you're good.
It sounds like there's going to be an announcement for Vegas and Seattle to have teams this year. Um, well, sorry. Let me. That was worded poorly. We're going to get an announcement this year that Vegas and Seattle are going to have some expansion teams coming pretty soon. So, speaking of Vegas, not too long until there's going to be a team there and in Seattle as well. It sounds like.
Yeah, that's the word on the street.
So, before we wrap this podcast up, there's one thing we wanted to talk about. But I did want to address one thing for all you video game players and 2K lovers. The rosters came out. The game's out, I believe now. I don't have it yet, but I think it's out. Damian Lillard's an 89. That won't be there for long for you that do care about it. He's not. He's going to be in the 90s again. But for those of you who didn't know, he's an 89. There was some, including me. I mean, honestly, it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things, but it was a little annoying to see him get dropped so low, and other players that had the same issues last year stayed where they were, or I don't know. It doesn't matter. I don't even know why I brought it up. Let's just
Cut out
forget
again.
about that. Good, I cut out, so that's good. Sorry if you're still listening and we're having technical difficulties. I don't know what's going on. We're trying to solve it, but let's get to the last thing. I want to shout out first off, before I even shout this out. This is a funny badass name. Shout out to Stupid Sexy Flanders. That's a funny name. I love it. That's funny. He posted this on Reddit, and I thought it was interesting. I just kind of want to talk about it, and it kind of ties in with what we talked about last episode about Josh Hart winning Sixth Man of the Year and what that would look like for our team. So his question was, what individual accomplishment would have the highest, or sorry, not highest, greatest impact on our team's success going into next season? And then he gave a couple choices. So I'm going to ask you a couple, Fawad. Just let me know what you think.
There's
So
a
which
lot of
one would,
choices.
yeah, there is a lot. There is a lot. Nasir Little becomes a solid starter and looks like a candidate for an all defensive team. Dame returns fully from his injury and plays like a serious MVP candidate. Simons has buzz as a second All-Star. Jeremy Grant has buzz as a second All-Star. Like we talked about last episode, Josh Hart is leading candidate for Sixth Man of the Year. Nurkic returns to Bosnian beast form and, looks like a candidate for a defensive team. Gary Payton plays heavy minutes off the bench and is the best point of attack defender in the NBA and looks like a candidate for all defensive team, which honestly, I'll be honest with you, I could see that happening. Out of all these,
Yeah,
like
I
that's,
feel like
to me, the one that makes the most sense and would happen.
that basically happened last year with the
Yeah,
Warriors.
exactly. Shaden Sharp exceeds expectations, plays heavy minutes at the 2 and 3, and plays well. Jabari Walker is too good to keep on the court, to keep off the court, sorry, and becomes the first big off the bench. Or Trendon Watford becomes Draymond-like and is voted to the rookie sophomore game. So out of all those huge lists I just named off, is there one that stands out to you that would be like the for sure best case scenario? What would be the best for our team?
I'm between two. Honestly, all of these will have like huge impacts, and they're all pretty close. I don't think you can go wrong with most of them. But the two that I think I'm between are either Nasir becomes a solid starter at defense, or Nurk returns to Bosnian beast form and looks like a candidate for all defense. I think both of those help our defense a lot. And I think, we've seen how good Nurk was before the injury, and we were the third seed. Um, he was healthy. So if he comes back, I think there's, it bodes well for our team. I think we would be really good. Same thing with Nasir Little. We haven't had a great wing defender in a while, and um, definitely not since Aminu and Harkless left, which was 3 years ago already, I think, something like that. But yeah, if he becomes a solid starter, I think that would help us a lot. He could potentially be one of our better wings in the Dame era, and he could, fill a hole that we need filled. Uh, and we talked about Josh Hart last time, and one of my arguments was that if he's a leading candidate for Sixth Man of the Year, that automatically means Nasir Little was already a solid starter. So that's kind of like a 2-in-1.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess one of those three.
Yeah, I have a couple that I agree with you on. I do think if Nasir Little becomes a solid starter and as a defensive all defensive team candidate, I think that could be the best case scenario for us, because then, like you said, Josh Hart is coming off the bench. We're not having a weak spot at the 3 and the 4, and that's a really important one. One that I think a lot of people overlook in this one was that Dame returns like fully healthy from this injury and plays like a serious MVP candidate. I know we've had seasons where he's been, in the discussion, but when I read serious, to me, that's like him and one other person are being considered for MVP. And if that's happening, if he's having that kind of season where he's being considered an MVP, we're in a good spot. And then I also agree with you, Nurkic coming back to that Bosnian beast when he was right before he broke his leg. I mean, we were rolling. That was a fun team to watch. I honestly, in my opinion, he was our second best player. He was more
He
important
definitely
and
was.
our best player than CJ was at that time.
100%.
Yeah, that year when we lost him, that hurt a lot. So if he returns to that kind of form, we're going to be dangerous. And then one other thing I wanted to add. This one not necessarily as much for our success this year, if it happens, as much as for the future. If Shaden Sharp exceeds expectations and shows that he could be what people think could be, that's in one of two ways. Either we can use him as trade asset and get something, a win now piece, or if we're gonna go on this, it's not looking like we're gonna make a run at it. So we got Sharp and he's exceeding expectations. Now we kind of we can play the game and let him and Simons and unfortunately Memes the odd man out at that point. I hope that's not the case, but if Sharp exceeds expectations, it's kind of a win-win for us either way because we can either use him to land somebody right now or develop him and he ends up being a day player star. I don't know how you feel about that one.
Yeah, I kind of disagree with that one, especially if we're talking about next season. I know you said beyond next season, but if he is playing heavy minutes at the 2 and 3, posting good numbers, I don't think that's a good thing for our team because we have so many guys ahead of him at the 2 and 3 that if he gets minutes, it means something went really bad somewhere else. So I don't know about that one. But you made a good point with Dame. I was thinking like returning to fully healthy, and around what he was before. But if you make the case like that is fair that he hasn't been a serious MVP candidate. Maybe one year where he was like in the top 3, but he definitely wasn't one. But if he is like a serious candidate, like he's one of 2 guys, then I think that definitely could be one of the most impactful for sure.
Yeah, I think like the
And
last couple of years he was like top 5 MVP candidate, and then there was one year where some people were saying he could be top 3, but he was like the number 3. So
yeah. But another thing is that if he is a serious MVP candidate, most of the time I mean, almost always you're top two seed. I think after Russ there was like one more exception where it was like a 4 or 5 seed that won. But most of the time you're a top 2 seed. So that obviously if he's an MVP candidate, it probably means we had a lot of team success.
yeah, yeah. And someone commented this and it's true. It said if Dame doesn't return to form, he doesn't think that
That's
the other
true.
scenarios even matter. So
That's
that
100%
could be the most important just because he doesn't come back the way we're used to. We might be in trouble anyways. So
very fair point. I wanted to
Jeremy
see.
Grant being an all-star is possible. Do I think it's going to happen? Probably not, but it's possible.
Yeah, I think I'd say possible, not out of the question, not a guarantee or anything. I want to see the results of the poll, but it's not opening for me, so I don't think
Let me see.
I
Let
don't
me
think
click
I
on it real
can
quick while we talk
pull it
about
up.
it.
And then the last one that I kind of want to talk about too was Trent Watford becoming Draymond Light. I think that would help us a lot, but just because of the fact that Jeremy Grant is there at the 4, I think we have a forward who's, good enough already. So I think that would be great long term, but I think for next season specifically, that would probably not be one of the greatest impacts. But I think long term
Mhm.
that could be one of the better ones too.
Yeah, nope, I agree with you totally. I'm not the biggest
Especially actually,
Draymond
what?
fan.
It could be impactful for us too next season if if you think of him as a trade asset. If he is that good, maybe
Yep.
we trade him for someone good.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not the biggest Draymond fan, so you'll never hear me
I
rant and rave for Draymond, but If he can bring the defensive impact like that, and I'm all for it. If he can bring some of that grit, like I will not deny that Draymond plays hard on defense and is he's not afraid of anybody. I won't deny that, but Draymond himself, I'm not a big fan of. But that's for another episode, another when we're all mad about something. Do you have anything else you want to talk about before we wrap it up?
Not really. 20 days until preseason. I already talked about that. Training camp is a little bit sooner than that. I think exactly a week earlier. So if you want to knock 7 days off your countdown, feel free to do that.
Yeah, true. We're gonna have some Blazer basketball, some Blazer news, some Blazer basketball here very soon. If you guys are still listening, I'm sorry for the technical difficulties. It sounds like it's been an whole podcast issue, so hopefully it's not terrible. We tried our best. But like Fawad said, 20 days, we're getting close. I'm super excited to watch some Blazer basketball. I've been going through some withdrawals, some bad withdrawals, so I'm ready for it to happen.
Who hasn't?
I got the itch. I need to scratch it. So, other than that, Fawad, thanks for joining tonight. Always good talking to you. And everybody that's listening. Oh, whoa, Fawad's got something.
We are changing our schedule. This episode will be coming out on Wednesday, and that will be our schedule moving forward too.
Yes. Thank you.
We'll
be recording. We used to do Mondays and then put them out on Tuesdays. It's now going to be Tuesdays out on Wednesdays. Same time, 7 a.m. if you're on Pacific Standard Time. That's the only time that matters, right, Fawad? He's just 3 hours ahead of us. But yeah, Pacific Standard Time, 7 o'clock in the morning, Wednesdays. That's when the episodes will come out. If you're listening, thank you for listening. As always, Rip City, baby. Thanks to My Life Pursuing for the music used on the intros and the outros of this podcast. You can check them out on all major streaming platforms at My Life Pursuing.